to you. This is Breakfast with Stephen and Anne.
Shall we take a look at today's front pages of the newspapers? And the Times leads on President Zelensky's comments saying that the energy crisis is the price we pay to avoid World War III.
The Observer comments on prospective Tory leader Liz Truss and her proposed cabinet if she's made Prime Minister tomorrow.
The Express's headline focuses on Prime Minister Boris Johnson's comments, urging the party to get behind Liz Truss.
I don't know that he said that.
No, he said we've got to unite.
Unite, I think, sort of
Stop the fighting.
Behind any candidate,
yeah.
Seems to be what he was saying. Whoever wins. But anyway, that's the Express's take of it all. Liz Truss pledges to help fix the energy crisis once and for all, according to the Sunday Telegraph.
And the Sunday Mirror covers the alleged Tory plot to bring back Boris. It's an interesting one.
It's just crazy. I mean,
they haven't even appointed the ex-Prime Minister yet, so...
You know, I know a lot of you are big fans of Boris, but actually, now, you know, that would just be damaging to bring him back. You've got to move forward from these sort of events. I don't think he'd do it, to be honest now. I think he's probably had enough.
Not straight away, but I think there is an argument that he may go away for a while and then try and come back.
Oh, yeah, but that would be different, though.
Because his hero, Winston Churchill, did that.
Anyway, let's go through the papers with the columnist Emma Wolfe and the broadcaster and everyone's favourite chef Kevin Woodford. Good morning to you both. Emma, let's talk about the energy crisis. Should we in the Sunday Telegraph? What's their take on it all?
This is Liz Truss saying no more sticking plasters, no more kicking the can down the road. I have a twofold, this is her, not me, I have a twofold approach. I'm going to fix the energy crisis, as if it were that simple. So she has one of her first prong is immediate financial help for households, which is interesting and will be hopefully a relief to many people who are panicking. We're already in September and it's really from October that temperatures are going to start plummeting. The energy price cap rises to £3,500. Goodness knows what it'll be by next April. People are saying up to 7,000. I think people are incredibly worried about this, aren't they? There's a real sense of anxiety, and you know, this thing about sending out £400 to people, it's just not really, I don't think it's touching the size. Anyway, her second prong, simple, is solving the deep-rooted problems, which presumably is dealing with the longer-term crisis, which has been caused by the problems in Ukraine, the COVID crisis, all of this.
And it's all massively vague at the moment.
It's very vague.
But then I suppose, you know, to be fair, she doesn't know whether she's got the job yet.
I mean, I think we all know that she has, but I think she also has
to... we can't know, can we? We really don't know. Just because every paper is saying so doesn't necessarily...
It's hugely surprising. I mean, even Rishi Sunak's team, interestingly, are pretty much given up on assembling their cabinet, apparently. They say there is still a slim chance for a campaign team to say that. So, I mean, this whole thing in the Telegraph is that she's saying, you know, we have to stop reacting in the short term. We have to find a longer-term solution. And it reminded me of that saying about the best time to act is 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
The second best time to act is now. Well, we kind of needed to act 10 years ago on this, 20 years ago. We need to push through probably things like fracking. You know, we need to get those oil and gas pipelines in the North Sea up and running. And we also need to kind of solve the world problem. So, you know, not much detail.
Although it's very interesting, isn't it, Kevin, in the Sunday Times, what President Zelensky's been saying.
Yes, I mean, what a man. I mean, he made this comment with regard... I mean, we're all concerned about the energy crisis. But his point is so valid. He's saying that, you know, the financial hardship that we're going through in Europe and the UK is worth going through to avert war. And his greatest concern, I think, is the fact that we shouldn't be afraid of our energy crisis and what we have to endure. Because if that's all we've got to endure when you consider what he's going through, then we haven't got a problem at all. You know, and we know, you know, Putin now has sort of suspended the supply of gas through Nord Stream, which is a key pipeline to the west. But so be it. I think we need to sort of take on board the strength that Zelensky is showing the rest of the world.
I mean, it's hard in a way. What he's saying is pretty harsh, and a lot of people are really suffering here. However, as you say, it does put it in some perspective.
I think so. I think so. Honestly, I do. You know, I do really. I mean, you know, he makes a point that, you know, the greatest danger is for the Ukraine to show weakness. You know, because if they show weakness, then Russia have really got a grip of everything. So I just think we've got to grin and bear it. We've got to do what we can, really, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Emma, in the Mirror, there's this plot to bring back Boris. Does this have anything other than just a major headline? I mean, is there any
Tory
substance
MPs plot to bring back Boris? Well, just lots of eye rolling from everybody, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we've had months and months and months of Tory infighting. It feels incredibly self-indulgent at a time when the country is facing what it's facing. And now, apparently, 12 of them are planning to submit no confidence letters, wheel out Sir Graham Brady again, go back into all this. Frankly, we need government now. We need some leadership.
Does it say who these 12 are?
No, well, I couldn't find any detail on who the 12 are. And 12 is nowhere near enough, as we
No, it's nowhere near enough. But I'll tell you what, it just strikes me, whatever your views on all of this, and whether you're a big Boris supporter or not, or whatever, this is that would be so self-indulgent.
So self-indulgent. And I think it's a measure of just how damaging and how divisive this bloodletting, this public performance over the last 6 weeks has been, but also just how divided the Conservative Party remain, and just how desperately we need, I don't care now whether it's Labour or Conservative, we just need some leadership, bring the country back together, and also help for people, help for the actual constituency, lest we forget us lot that actually kind of, politics has become this odd game, this sort of beauty contest, hasn't it? So this idea that they're going to resubmit letters of confidence and bring Boris back by Christmas is absolutely ludicrous. I think it's for the birds. I mean, Lord Cruddas of Shoreditch had that. There was a petition going, and they were trying to get to 10,000 signatures to try and change the party rules to bring back Boris. All of that seems to have been dead in the water as well. So I think they really do need to move on and unite behind somebody.
Yes, move forwards, not backwards, as somebody
Boris
once
could
said.
shut this down by actually saying something like that.
Couldn't he quite? Absolutely. He's been very quiet throughout the
Yeah,
whole thing.
all he's done is he has made a speech there in the front page of the Sunday Express saying we must unite behind the next leader. But he could actually say, no, I'm going to do X, Y and Z, and he hasn't told us what he's going to do
absolutely.
and do.
No.
Kevin, in the Observer this morning, these sort of apps, you can get apps for everything these days, and apps for getting food delivered and groceries delivered, but is that all falling apart?
I think it is, Stephen. I think what we had was during the pandemic, we had this enormous rise in grocery delivered to our home within 15 minutes. And in fact, one of the largest companies, a company called Gorilla, they invested millions, through venture capitalism, they invested millions of pounds in this. And right across the UK as well as the world.
I've never heard of Gorilla.
Yeah, they're very quiet. They're called the dark warehouse. It's the dark web. They're somewhere hidden away. But anyway, they are now at the stage where they are now getting rid of it all. They're major players, and 5 cities across the UK, they're just ditching it completely.
Oh.
At the time, think about it, when we had the pandemic and we couldn't go to the local corner shop, it was wonderful. We could pick up the phone, Deliveroo, and there are other companies. We could have what we wanted delivered. That's stopping. And I think there was this great belief that what was going to happen, that was the future. And that's why there was so much investment in it. That was the future. We wouldn't bother going to the shops anymore because we didn't need to. Everything would be delivered. For me, that was a disaster because I don't want somebody picking my cucumber, picking my apples, picking my oranges, whatever. I want to actually, and I still object to them all being wrapped up. I want to go into the shop and I want to unwrap it, and I do. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't been nicked for it yet. But I want to feel the orange. I want to feel the apples. So I think we're going back to that now. So there is a rapid decline in that form of food being delivered.
That's interesting.
I've never understood this thing about wanting a couple of bananas delivered. I've never done an online supermarket delivery ever. And I just don't understand people that even in the pandemic, you were allowed to go to the local shop for your essentials. We have an obesity crisis, we have depression, loneliness in this country. You need to get out and about, even if you potter down to the shops and buy a pint of milk. Many old people do as a daily trip.
It's essential, isn't it? It's part of a community
thing. It's really important to
thing.
get out and about,
It is.
to pick out your cucumbers or your loaf of bread or whatever. I don't want anyone to lose their jobs in this.
No.
But I really think it's very sad, this increasing thing of sitting at home, presumably on your smartphone, ordering in,
But Emma, even then, we did it. We had, one of the large companies deliver stuff to us, at one particular point. And we only did it twice because the food that arrived was literally sort of, you had to use it the following day because it was just on the edge. It's not something you would buy if you'd gone into the supermarket.
Yeah.
If you knew you didn't want it for about 3 or 4 days.
Well, I
So
did it
completely.
I did it in the pandemic, but not fresh. Didn't get anything fresh.
What did
Just
you get?
tinned and
Well,
tin.
just
Yeah,
the
like
tin
a load
and
of
the packet.
tins and the loo roll and stuff like that.
That sort of stuff.
Absolutely
But
understand
the
that.
fresh stuff is like, no, because they're going to get rid of what they want to get rid of.
Yes.
No, of
Of course
course,
they are.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So thankfully, we're seeing the end of that. You know, it's one of those things that, and there was so much investment in it because it was the future. For lots of venture capitalists, this is where we're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, there you go. Let's quickly look at rude commuters.
Yeah, so this is the Daily Mail saying that transport bosses have been criticised for giving antisocial passengers the green light to blare out their music. Basically, this is people on their smartphones not using headphones at all, just blaring out their films, streaming videos, and music and all of that. A commuter complained and was told, you know, that's fair enough, these people are allowed to play their music. Do you remember we had campaigns against smelly food, don't eat smelly food?
Yes.
We even had campaigns against headphones, don't turn up your music too loud while you're listening to headphones. I remember that on the tubes, you know, people having that tinny sort of noise coming through. But now apparently TfL are saying, Transport for London are saying, we remind our customers to act in a considerate and responsible manner. But they're not asking people to put on headphones, which is really odd. I think they're desperate to get people back on the transport network. Thing that gets me is the really loud engines and motorbikes, you know, really super loud cars that really, I think that's the most antisocial thing in our neighbourhoods. But
Do you?
there we go.
I don't mind a bit of revving myself.
Oh, do you? You like a bit of revving?
I'm a bit of a petrol head. I like
Right,
it.
yes, I am.
What is it? What
Especially
is it
when
that
the lights are
motorbikes?
red.
Oh.
Drop it into clutch, let it go.
Oh, yeah.
It's lovely. It's a great sound.
It's a great sound. We'll educate into that one.
I think that's so antisocial. In the middle of the night, you hear those
Oh, in the middle of
motorbikes
the night.
going
Oh,
by.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, I'll do it in the middle of
Some
the
people do it deliberately.
It's okay till midnight. After midnight, you should never do it.
Yeah. Lovely. Laura, thank you both. We're going to catch up with you a little bit later on. But for now, thank you very much indeed.